podcast and was talking about some of her work when she was working the sidelines around football.
I would make up the report sometimes because the coach wouldn't come out at halftime or it was too late. And I was like, I didn't want to screw up the report. So I was like, I'm just going to make this up because first of all, no coach is going to get mad if I say, hey, we need to stop hurting ourselves. We need to be better on third down and do a better job of getting off the field. Like they're not going to correct me on that.
Right.
So I'm like, it's fine.
Okay. Couple things here. She actually said she said this multiple times. She's never been fired. I don't think you said it on a real platform. So this one got out. I'll just say, as someone who likes being a sideline reporter, I think it does have value that, one, she puts us on the griddle because this just opens the door for everyone, including other media people who are like, sideline reporter has no value. More importantly, thanks for the rest of the ladies, Charissa, because a lot of women get into the biz as sideline reporters. Now you just basically said or suggested not only is their job irrelevant, but they may also be falsifying information, just lying, making things up. Awesome. Good job. Funny line. John, you're getting emotional.
Did you hear that when she was speaking? It was the sound of journalism dying.
Okay.
It's all over.
Yeah.
How can I trust anybody anymore? I'm just so disappointed. In fact, she should be fired, Steve. This very moment. I don't want to see, you know what? I've never used this phrase in all seriousness. You'll never work in this town again, kid. Get out of here. Why is this a big deal? I mean, your point is valid in that, like, that was the first thing that I thought. It was like, you're somebody who works in there and you're kind of saying, like, the job is not the most important. And there are times, we actually just played one yesterday, where as a sideline reporter, you get something good. Like when I got Kevin Kruger to kind of open up and get a little bit fiery at halftime.
You really love that
moment.
Great.
It was great.
Keep mentioning it.
It's great, yeah. It's great. It's because I asked. But at the same time, what I see and hear here is somebody who does what we've all done at some point at their job, which is you're up against it, so cut a corner. Right? Have we not all done that at one point in our lives when it comes to our job?
I do it every day.
Okay, that's why this program is going downhill.
I just made a new number 2.
But
I cut corners because I didn't finish the rundown.
But just to
Had some cat issues.
If you want to say that you're disappointed, I can understand it.
Right.
But to turn this into some grand reflection on the state of journalism today,
right,
I think is a little extreme.
I do think it's stupid though to make stuff up because it could come back on you if you do say something that does not blend with what the coach would have said. And here's the other thing. What's going on with producers on the TV side where they would accept anything like this, put so much pressure on someone. If you don't get a chance to talk to the coach, you probably have plenty of other material. I'll be honest with you. When I do UNLV football games, I am not interested in doing 7 features about the team during the game. Will I blend some stories that I know about with what's going on? I report on what's going on. And guess what? If Barry Odom is not available to half, I've compiled a bunch of stuff that I saw that can turn into talking points.
That you made up?
No, not at all.
Oh, okay.
That's another thing. Dude, if I'm sitting on the sidelines and I'm listening to coaches,
of course,
I would never make up what they're saying. And I'm also very careful putting out what I put out. I don't want to give away any secrets, but you should have other material. But this is a bigger problem. I hope everyone listened to that, that she felt the pressure to make something up if she didn't talk to the coach. Do something else as a report.
What's Troy Aikman's excuse?
When he talked about Quentin Williams, when he made up the
he doesn't prepare.
Most expensive decoy.
He doesn't. I mean, I listen with Troy. I know we do way too much of the stuff with the media, and you guys really don't listen to games. I listen to games, right? I think many times I hear the color analyst and I'm like, oh, I'm learning something. That's some good insight. I don't understand how some guys have just gotten away with being, boom, and making up or just throwing out football generalities. Like, bring something to the table for your $20 million a year.
So I would love to see, because I didn't listen to the whole thing. Because to your point, what struck me when listening to that was Charissa Thompson, that I know of, has worked for Fox and works for Amazon. There's when you're working for those networks, there's a time where you don't get access. So my thought is she talking about earlier in her career where you're kind of working for not nobody networks, right? But I worked before I did this stuff with you guys. one time when I was a producer, this random radio network had called us and they needed a sideline reporter for the Las Vegas Bowl. I'd never done sidelines before. And they were just like, hey, can you do it? And I was like, sure. And they asked me to, like, they just at 20 minutes or 10 minutes before halftime, hey, grab the coach again. I'm like, grab the coach? I haven't talked to anybody. What are we doing here? And so I couldn't get a coach. And so I wonder if it's one of those situations where you're early on in your career and you're doing it, because it just doesn't make sense that Charissa Thompson of Fox wouldn't get access to a coach prior. Thus, you had to make up a report.
Devon?
No, what he says makes sense, but I don't think that this is just, for instance, an earlier in my career type of story.
Didn't sound like it.
Yeah, because she would have said that.
But by the way, the platform she said it on earlier was her podcast with Aaron Andrews. And Aaron Andrews in that pod also admitted to taking liberties with some halftime reports. Now, taking liberties is different than making stuff up.
All right. I don't, like I said earlier, you guys, I'm speaking to women, you're also in this horrific position where guys are jealous of you. They are uncomfortable with women being in their area. And I'm not talking about other sports people. I'm talking about fans. This does not help them.
Can I say really quickly, because I know we're extending this, this is also part of this. If a dude sideline reporter says this, I think it barely makes headlines.